Welcome to Legacy Masters Round 1, held at Next Level Games Dandenong. I'm Sully, and joined today is Sean Brown, aka MTG Goldfish.
Writer of This Week in Legacy. Hello.
So, on our right, we have an amazing player, Jarrod Goodwin on Dredge, and that was on our left, and on our right, we have one and only TCM's Greaves on Nickfit.
So this is a pretty interesting matchup. Lee, of course, on the, kind of slow out the gates, dirtily Nickfit, great against fair opponents, but against a combo deck like Dredge, it's going to be really pressured to find a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman or a Zenith or a Scavenging Ooze or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's not really barricaded from any of Jarrod's really explosive draws. There's no Force of Wills or anything involved. We see a Siege Rhino actually in Lee's hand, which is good if he can get to 4 mana, but that's quite ambitious. But Jarrod's mulling to 6, I think. So
yeah.
Dredge often mulligans, pretty aggressively for its pieces, and sometimes it can kind of die to variance. So we'll see how Jarrod goes, but it looks like this one's pretty good. He's scrying and keeping. So
yeah.
We're off to the races.
Looks like Lee is leading with, beautiful, Deathrite Shaman. That's going to be pretty powerful in this matchup,
All
I
right,
believe.
so that's exactly where he wants to be. Probably the best play he could have.
Yeah.
On Jarrod's turn, though, he has perhaps the best play he could have with Faithless Looning, Crack in response.
So discarding a Dread Return, a Bridge,
yep.
What's that land?
The Colosseum.
Colosseum.
I think the most important part, though, is it had a Dredger. So now he's just off to the races, hitting Stinky and a Grave Troll.
Grave Troll.
Yep.
There is a Thug in there as well. That's a Dredging 4 from memory.
Yep. So, but unfortunately, he hasn't hit any Narcomoebas or anything like that, which is really, really what he wants. He has, I think, 2 or 3 therapies in the bin. And Icarid here is good, but it might be a little slow in the face of this Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, it might be. But he does have a Dread Return and 2 Bridge from Belows, which could be really interesting. And from my count, there's at least 6 or 7 creatures in his graveyard. So he could Dread Return a Troll.
At some stage,
and make it big.
Yeah, if he's the thing that is a worry here is Deathrite Shaman. He might just Lee might just upkeep, eat the Icarid.
Yeah.
And now Jarrod's just slow dredging.
Yeah.
And the Deathrite Shaman may actually be able to beat that if he whiffs on this dredge. So Lee takes the Dread Return here. Too worried about that, and I'm not sure that I'm too keen on this. Because now the Icarid's going to get revived, and I think there's 2 bridges there. So already
there is 2 bridges.
Yeah, but I think I can see why now. He's going for Stronghold, sacking the Deathrite Shaman. This is a really heads up play by Lee. This is actually really, really great.
Yeah.
So he's eaten the Dread Return, sacked his Deathrite to the Stronghold, and exiled the Bridges from below.
Which is really amazing.
Yep, so that's quite good. The only thing here is that he didn't have anything to do with the
mana that he produced.
Yeah, with the mana that he produced from the Stronghold. So I think that was, again, you really, really have to value your Deathrite Shaman. It's really the only thing that you have going for you.
And you could have done that at instant speed in response to a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah, if say the bridge has got 2 threatening, and he could have even nuked an extra bridge.
Yeah.
That Jarrod was able to flip over just then by doing it at his end of turn if things got a bit too hairy. So maybe a bit. I think that's the power of Dredge though. Dredge really threatens the opponent and can definitely make them quite worried. So yeah. So
we're seeing some pretty spice happening right now. So we've got Cabal Therapy. We don't know what he named, but obviously he hasn't named anything in the card that's in his hand.
Yeah, I think he's kind of whiffed. Again, it helps that Lee's deck is all kind of random stuff. It's very hard to hit blind.
Yeah.
Against Nickfit, though, I really would name Zenith because it is kind of... so he does name it on the flashback. On the second one. But definitely blind. That's probably the first one I would go for because... Scavenging Ooze is kind of what bails Lee out of this situation here.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, Jarrod not really caring about those 2 Siege Rhinos, knowing that Lee is not yet at 4 mana. So Lee picks up a Path, which is great against these Icarids. So that's at least he's got something going for him. But another Icarid's going to get revived, and we're going to see probably all the zombies crashing in. So.
And it's pretty safe to say that if Lee paths the Icarid Jarrod's not going to have a basic in his...
No. So his deck list, I think, is just, 4 Mines, 4 Mana Confluence, I think maybe 1 City of Brass, and the 4 Cephalid Colosseums.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any basics for him to get. And honestly, there's no mana. He can't really use the mana at all since he's just in this Dredge mode. He's never going to be drawing any more lands to flashback or looting. So yeah. So all right. So he's in Narcomoeba City now as well, which is really great. I mean, he didn't for those first 4 dredges that he got off the thug, off the troll, the imp, and then the troll and the imp again. He didn't hit any narcos, but now he's hitting tons of them and smashing in for tons of damage. So this is looking really bad for Lee. I'm not sure if Siege Rhino may be able to turn the corner here though. So might be good. Yeah. So it takes a bunch of damage down to 9.
Yeah.
Yep. So Jarrod heads up, flashes back the therapy right on schedule, hitting those 2 Siege Rhinos, and that's our game there. So of course, as I said, so Lee very quickly got run over. As I said, maybe a bit too aggressive with his usage of Deathrite Shaman there. But in the end, I think Jarrod, I mean, if he eats the Icarid, that's fine, but Jarrod's still going to be able to hit a Narcomoeba, flash back one of those therapies, and, still get the ball rolling.
So looking at Lee's deck list, because this is probably not a really good matchup for Nick Fit.
It's quite bad for him. We see...
what can we bring in?
So the cards I like here, the cards that are good are probably the Surgicals are given. So he has 3 Surgicals in the sideboard, so those are going to be excellent.
Containment Priest?
Yep, so he's got 2 Containment Priests, another, all-star against this kind of deck. He also has Deluge. Deluge is actually pretty good in these matchups as well. As we saw, the board actually gets gummed up by zombies quite a bit, and just having a clean answer to sweep those away is really good. I actually don't mind Thoughtseize either, considering that Lee is on the play. Sometimes you can, destroy their only discard outlet or their only looting spell, and then, then they're not really able to accelerate through, and then your Deathrites, your Scavenging Oozes can easily rip apart their graveyard when they're slow dredging. So, it doesn't look too intuitive to bring in Thoughtseize against the deck that wants to throw its hand in the graveyard.
Yeah, but sometimes it just takes what...
Yeah, it takes what gets the ball rolling.
Yeah,
as I said, maybe on the draw, it would be less of a good idea to have in Thoughtseize, because by that time he's maybe dumped his whole hand already.
Yeah, it's pointless.
Yeah, so against... what do we have here? Right, so we have Elder Scale Whirl as well as a sideboard card in Lee's list. Not sure if this is the matchup where you want it. So this is the one that's
7. If you go
to 7, you can only go to 7, right?
Yeah.
From what I remember, it
it's a
fixes your
7
life
for 7.
That fixes your life total to 7.
Yeah.
From what I remember,
yeah, you can't go below 7.
Yeah,
so it's really interesting. So it could be funny.
It could be interesting to kind of punk him out. I'm not sure if that mana cost is a bit ambitious, because I would imagine you're actually trying to hard cast it in this list. So might be a bit ambitious when you want to kind of be as interactive as possible. So on Jarrod's side, we have actually not much. There's he has 3 Petals, 3 Nature's Claims, 3 Fairy Macabres, 3 Firestorms, 1 Iona, 1 Elesh Norn, and 1 Ashen Rider. So what I actually play quite a bit of LED Dredge, and what I would like in these kind of matchups is Firestorm. Firestorm is the card which breaks apart their main... one of their main ways of interacting with you, which is Hate Bears, as we saw Containment Priest in the sideboard, or Deathrite, or Scavenging Ooze. These are all great targets for your Firestorms. Also in the late game, you can just kind of punch through some blockers, kill those, attack with some zombies. It's a pretty flexible card, so definitely.
How do you feel about Iona and Elesh Norn?
So I don't think Iona, this isn't a matchup for Iona where she can shine. She may just be actually a dumb giant flyer, which can be nice, but... there's a lot of varieties of removal that Lee has access to. So I don't think it's a bit ambitious to bring her in. Elesh Norn could get work done, kind of nuking the board, especially nuking those Hate Bears if she gets into play. The card I like...
The Scoozers and
the Scoozers and stuff like that. But of course, you have to be able to do that before they're actually able to untap and eat it using the Scooz or the Deathrite. So it could be a bit hairy. The one I do like the most is Ashen Rider. Nick Fit has a bunch of random stuff like that, will appear. Who knows what he's going to play. We saw Dragon Lord Dramoka, for Christ's sake. So
Pernicious Deed.
Yeah, Pernicious Deed. There's a lot of random stuff that you can randomly pop out, and Ashen Rider just being a flexible answer against these things is really, really good. So I do like that, and I'd probably actually take out the one main deck Flamekin Zealot and instead bring in the Ashen Rider.
Yeah.
But we'll see how Jarrod goes. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes again for a quick kill, because against these hate bearish kind of decks, just killing them before they get to turn 2 is also a good idea. So yeah, we'll see how they're going. Lee's on the play, of course, since he lost that first one in a pretty depressing fashion. I mean, the first game against Dredge is always a pretty depressing one, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I think my game 1 against Dredge has normally been a nice 50-50. I have mainboard hate against it, but most decks just don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's good for when you're playing, so you're playing Eldrazi, you have Chalice, which is a big game against slowing them down, and then, as you said, you have
Ballistas, Warping Whales.
Yeah, so they're quite good. And then post-board Leyline of the Void. As a Dredge player, the Stompy deck's always very scary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a turn 1 Veteran Explorer.
Yeah, so turn 1 Veteran Explorer, this kind of isn't really where Lee wants to be honest. I think his hand is probably keepable, you know. He might have Veteran Explorer into a nice big Zenith for a Scoos. But this could end up being a bit too slow if he doesn't have a piece of hate like a Surgical in his hand. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
All right, so Jarrod's starting off with a great one. So Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting is actually one of the best cards in the entire deck. The explosive power of LED and Breakthrough get all the credit, but Looting and Careful Study give the deck such a nice consistency that is really, really appreciated.
Because they don't obviously have the Bazaar of Baghdad that Vintage does.
Vintage has. It doesn't have Brainstorm. It doesn't have all these things. But having the 8 loot spells, which essentially are draw 2 cards and then pitch 2 dredges, it's very, very nice. So we see Veteran Explorer getting in there. We also have the all right, so this is Volrath Stronghold. I get mixed up between Volrath Stronghold and Phyrexian Tower. We saw Phyrexian Tower last game.
That looks
this is
like
Volrath Stronghold.
Yeah, that does look like the Stronghold.
Yep. So all right, so Jarrod's just off to the races. Then he's dredged 5 off his Stinky.
There is a Troll. I can't tell what that red card
That's
is.
the Firestorm.
Oh, so he did bring him in.
Yep, so he brought them in.
Icarid.
And an Icarid. So pretty solid dredge. I mean, the Icarid's the main one that you want to see there. Looks like Jarrod's hand is actually quite nutty, though. He has an LED. It looks like a bunch of blue cards there, which I'm guessing is a Breakthrough. Yeah, he's got a Breakthrough, a Bridge.
Stinkweed Imp.
Yeah, so he's got tons of stuff, actually. So he's going for LED. And I'm imagining he's going to go into a Breakthrough either for 1 or just for 0. Yep, so he's going to Breakthrough for 1.
Yep, so he'll draw 1 card, then discard.
So he'll draw 4 cards,
yep.
And then he discards down just to 1.
Yeah,
is what happens. But of course, who cares when you want to basically discard your whole hand anyway. This gives him access to a 3rd land, though. So he'll be able to keep a 3rd land, which will mean next turn he can either Faithless Looting, or he can break through that Cephalid Colosseum. So Lee's giving him the thumbs up, say basically F6ing here, and saying,
go for it.
I don't have Surgical or anything like that, which is going to be a pretty bad time.
So Veteran Explorer, it reads sacrifice it. Both players search for 2 basics.
2 basics and put them into play untapped.
So I guess Lee will be waiting for the optimal time to sacrifice this to try and blow up.
Yeah, to blow up his bridges.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think Jarrod has such a huge amount of Icarids that blowing up bridges might not even be enough.
Yeah.
So as I said, if, say, for example, Lee has, a Containment Priest, a Surgical on those Icarids, for example, and then blowing up bridges, that would be really good. Because then, of course, just having 3 ones that recur, doesn't matter if there's no zombies involved with that. So, yeah, Lee really needs to get something going, and hopefully, maybe he has a Zenith or something like that now. That would be really strong. But maybe a little too late.
So Lee's just gotten out the Bayou.
Lovely altered Bayou.
That Bayou is actually altered by Lee Greaves.
Oh, really?
I used to own that Bayou.
So Lee does a few alters, does he?
He does. He goes by the artist name Boggle.
Boggle.
Which is kind of cool. But he hasn't done alters in a while. So this is...
Does he actually like Boggles? Does he play Boggles in Modern?
I've never seen him play Boggles.
I hope not. That's a pretty obnoxious deck.
But Lee plays just... amazing brews. He just loves stupid combos.
Yeah, so here, of course, Nick Fit is the epitome in Legacy of the crazy brew.
Like, he plays Jester's Cap sometimes
Oh,
in Vintage
my.
and stuff like that. Like,
That's sweet.
he'll find some amazing cards and then try and build a deck. So I know he's also played a Curse of Exhaustion with Possibility Storm.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Just to...
All right, so that is
it.
a Phyrexian tower. Yeah, that is a
Oh, it is the tower.
It
Yeah.
is the Phyrexian tower. As I said, I get the arts mixed up. So there's the Phyrexian tower. He's making 2 black mana plus getting Explorer triggers. So this is a lot of mana. Lee now has access to 6 mana now. So if he has a Zenith in hand and he gets Screws and then he gets and then he eats 2 things in the graveyard, that might really steal away the game.
Yeah, it could do really well. What would his other line be?
It depends. I can't really see what... I think there may be a Zenith.
Pernicious Deeds in
Yes.
hand.
All right. So he's going for the Scoos here.
Yeah.
So he's going for the Scoos. And this is actually really great because he gets to have Scoos and have mana up at the same time. So in response to these Icarids, he might be able to eat something. If Jarrod flips over a Narcomoeba, Lee will be able to eat that as well before it hits play. So,
which is really cool.
Yeah. So as I said, Lee really needed an explosive follow-up. He's got that.
Yeah,
so,
he really did follow that up.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah. So, again, so Jarrod kind of didn't go too mental with that breakthrough, which was quite lucky, and now Lee's got to punish him for that. I mean, that's how Dredge works sometimes, though. Sometimes you got to just mill over your cards and hope you hit those Narcomoebas, and sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, once I had them and they were all like at the bottom of my deck, which is very sad.
And that's upsetting sometimes.
Yeah, but it happens.
So we're seeing him eating some very important things. Looks like 2 Dread returns.
So I think it was actually the Faithless Looting and the Dread return. So I'm actually not too keen.
Icarid.
Yeah, and an Icarid. I'm actually not too keen on attacking the Dread returns so readily, because of course when your opponent Dread returns, you can just eat the giant creature that they're targeting in response, and basically kind of get supreme value from that there. So yeah, I'm not super keen on that, but taking out the Icarid is definitely what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
And it looks like Jarrod has the Cephalid Colosseum though. So again,
Faithless Looting might not have been the right choice.
I'm not sure if you want to take the Faithless Looting when you see that he has Colosseum coming up as well. So so it's a bit of a worrying situation. You got to be really careful with your scoozing, and I think, of course, as I said, Dredge gets a huge advantage from your opponent. Just so many things going on, right? So many things in the graveyard to target, so many threatening things that it's very easy to not understand how to dismantle the machine. And not saying, as I said, Lee doesn't know. I know he plays a bit of Vintage, so there's a lot of Dredge going on there as well. But it's definitely tough calls to be made.
Yeah, and he plays a lot with Luke McCoy, another TCM player who is the Dredge player of Australia, essentially.
The Dredge player of Australia.
The vintage Dredge player of Australia.
Yeah.
So he understands a lot of what is happening.
Yeah. So here we see Jarrod hits a Faithless Looting off his Cephalid Colosseum and almost has his entire deck in his graveyard, which is basically exactly where you want to be with Dredge. And I also think he flipped over a Narcomoeba from that Faithless Looting. So
he did.
I think we're going to see a Therapy and possibly a Dread return of an Ashen Rider here if he has enough creatures going around.
Which would be
really would basically
good.
kill the Scoos, and then he can kind of sail through the game from there.
So he's also got 2 bridges, I think,
so 2 bridges. So now I think there was a Dread return. He has 2 Dread returns in his deck, so it's somewhere there. So now he can just Dread return the Ashen Rider. As I said, so this is the perfect spot where you want to be able to have that access to Ashen Rider. Elish Norn wouldn't be able to get it done here because, of course, the Scoos is a 3/3 now. But Ashen Rider just dealing with lots of random problem stuff means that you can very easily clean up these kind of annoying situations. So it looks like that's probably what's going to happen here. And then I think...
So we've got in his hand a Dual Land, a Caracas, a Pernicious Deed, and I missed what the...
I think it was a Decay.
A Decay? Abrupt Decay,
Yeah. All right, so he's going for another Therapy just to get a bit more value. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's just Dread returning.
Just straight Dread
returning. Yep. Yeah, and he's okay. I love this. You can do the good old therapy Ashen Rider away, and then you basically just Stone Rain your opponent.
Yeah.
So this is great. I do this. I bought an Ashen Rider against combo because sometimes you can go fast and Dredge return Ashen Rider, blow up their land, Cabal Therapy their hand,
Yeah.
blow up another land. So
Which is...
the double Stone Rain, which is pretty dope. I like that.
And it's also just an amazing card against Sneak and Show as
Yeah,
well.
that's actually another place where you want it. You can have it in hand against Sneak and Show, and then you can kind of blow that up. I mean, I know you in your Eldrazi list, you have it in your sideboard.
Yeah, it's a new addition to my sideboard because Sneak and Show has been one of the worst,
tougher matchups. Yeah,
worst matchups.
A lot of the kind of non-blue fair decks, like I've played Dragon Stompy as well, and I know Steven Stamopoulos, honoured Saltmine caster, has also played Ashen Rider in his Goblin sideboard, just as a way to kind of punk out show and tell decks,
which is one of his favourite decks. Yes.
one of his favourite decks.
Yeah.
Yep. So Lee draws I think he drew a Cabal Therapy. Is that what that is? Yep. So he decays this, and I think he has a Cabal Therapy here. So right. Okay. I get a bit confused with Lee's way he orders his graveyard. I think the sideways is his graveyard, and then the upways is the exiled, because there's the Skoos and the stronghold, the Phyrexian Tower that got exiled by the Ashen Rider.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the cards facing the same way as his deck are his exiled cards.
Yeah, that actually looks pretty neat, actually.
So he's attacking in there.
Yeah, attacking for a heck of a lot. We have that's 12 damage, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got him on 8.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Sacking 2 Narcomoebas, getting more zombies.
Yeah, looks like the game's kind of running away from Lee here. Again, this is how Dredge kind of operates. There's just a one-turn window, and it can suddenly just kind of burst out of nowhere and completely, wreck the opponent. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I said, it's a very tough situation when you're kind of got that Skoos in play and a lot of decisions to make, and sometimes honestly, Dredge can just beat the Skoos.
Yeah, can just race it.
Can just race through. Oh, what a draw!
Wow, that was
Maelstrom Pulse.
Maelstrom Pulse off the top.
Wow. Okay.
Better to be lucky than good, right?
I think the issue now is, can Jarrod kill in time before he decks out? Because his deck looks very, very small. I think he'll probably be taking natural draws. Yep. I think he has 1 card left in his library. And the Icarids probably will be able to get in there. I think the best card Lee could draw now is Siege Rhino, actually.
Yeah, Siege Rhino would...
But there's a bit too many zombies, I think. So, it'd be great. Elder Scale Worm.
Elder Scale Worm would have been amazing there. I wonder if he ported it in.
I doubt it. But, we see Lee top decking the Surgical a bit too late.
Yeah, and giving over the game to Jarrod. So, stay tuned for round 2. I've been Sully.
I've been Sean, and thank you very much for watching this first round.
Yeah, thank you.